So 80% or so of my practice is gender affirming surgery. So I do facial, chest surgery, and genital surgery. But the majority of my practice and sort of where my passion lies is really genital surgery cases. So I do a lot of vaginoplasty and a lot of phalloplasty. I would just say they're expanding in either direction. So yeah, a lot of adolescents presenting for surgical intervention, but also a lot of people that are like in their 70s sometimes coming in for genital surgery, and then everything in between. But the adolescents for sure present some unique challenges. Obviously, there's great evidence supporting pubertal suppression for a whole variety of benefits. But the one thing that is very new is genital surgery in someone that has underwent pubertal suppression. Not so much an issue in someone with assigned female at birth anatomy that undergoes a phalloplasty, because we're creating something with a free tissue transfer, a flap anyway, but a much bigger issue for an individual that's undergoing a penile inversion vaginoplasty. Because we use all of that tissue to basically create the vulva as well as line the internal vaginal canal. And as a specialty, those of us that do a fairly high volume of genital gender affirming surgery, we've maybe done a handful of pubertally suppressed adolescents as a field, and no one's published on it yet. We're just putting our first series together as we're kind of learning and figuring out what works. But it's really changing things because you don't have enough tissue to line the vaginal canal. So you either have to take a skin graft or take skin from elsewhere or use some artificial product. The way that we're dealing with it is by using a robot, and we're basically performing intra-abdominal components of the surgery. So we're using peritoneum, which is the inner lining of the abdomen, to line most of the vaginal canal. And by doing that, that allows us to use all of the remaining tissue externally to create a vulva and try to make also an aesthetic result.
So what we just witnessed was an interview last week from Dr. Blair Peters, who is a gender-affirming surgery expert at the University of Oregon's Health and Science Division. Earlier today, just a few minutes ago, our colleagues on the left said that we didn't know what we were talking about. So when presented with a video that details exactly what it means to conduct surgery on a minor for gender-affirming surgery, they left the room. They don't want the facts. And as you heard from the specialist who does these surgeries, they don't know what they don't know. They don't understand the long-term effects. There is not even published information, peer-reviewed information, backing up the claims that our colleagues on the left have said. We are here today to fund children's hospitals, not to mutilate them with experimental surgeries that we do not have science and data that backs up the claims that the left has made today. So I stand with my colleagues in funding these children's hospitals, but I also am very disappointed in my colleagues on the left who opted to leave the